we do it a lot. Like, well, especially you. Yeah, like.
What have you learned from all that?
Just, it's definitely, like, it's a privilege, I would say, because, like, we even like to go on, like, quote unquote vacations, even though they would technically be work trips for you. We would do that multiple times a year when some people don't even get to go on one. So that just, like, definitely makes you very grateful for, like, the experiences, like, we got to experience as kids and, like, still now. And it also just makes you very, like, appreciative of, like, the jobs that we do and the lives we do get to lead, because, like, one of the reasons why I like traveling with you for work so much is because I hate sitting at a desk. Like, I like to be, like, going out and meeting people.
Yeah.
Especially, like, at all the events, meeting the cast members and stuff like that. Those are, like, that's probably my favorite part of my job. But yeah, it's just like...
All right, welcome to another episode of Creating a Life by Design. My name is Noah Elias, and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you, everyone who's been watching the show and listening to the show. Leave a comment down below. Hit the like button. Hit the notification so that you get the latest update whenever it comes in and gets syndicated. But man, we just so much appreciate you, and thanks for leaving a rating, as it helps us get the word out and you become more of a partner rather than just a listener. So thank you for doing that. Today is part 2 of a series that I'm doing with my daughter, Griffin Elias. Yep. She's awesome. And make sure that you check out our first episode, as we were talking about anxiety and parenting and upbringing, and some really great nuggets for parents and entrepreneurial parents and families that are doing life together. Just great techniques that they can use. So that was a fun episode. Didn't you think so?
I thought so.
Yeah, it was good. What are we talking about today?
I don't know. We're kind of just talking about like favorites, I guess.
Current favorites. And let's talk about what favorites we're talking
like
about.
Past favorites too, because I'm a film student, and I feel like a lot of the way you raised me kind of like is because of that. So
yeah, so unpack that a little bit. We're talking about some favorites, especially when it comes to film and movies. We're talking about food. We're talking about music. We're talking about just lifestyle, life, and we're talking about style, and just how, I think it's important. Every family kind of has favorites and different ways they'd like to do things, but I don't know. I think we have quite a bit that we, whether it be fashion, whether it be aesthetic, whether it be the look, the vibe of a room, design. And those things matter, and why, and what makes us tick. So maybe we could kind of include everybody in on some of the things that make us tick and why they're so important, and kind of, I don't know, you can almost call it like an inspiration. What's our source for inspiration and why? So maybe we go back and forth, and you can kind of start things off, and maybe we start with movies.
Yeah. For those who don't know, I am a film student, so I feel like I have some form like credibility here. But yeah, I'm trying to think, like, I feel like you introduced me to a lot of my favorite movies. Well, some of them. Because even early on, you were showing me movies, even if, like, I didn't want to watch them, or showing me music.
Let me share a few, what those are.
Yeah, like, my favorite movie of all time is The Fifth Element. And I remember, like, you were the one who showed me that, even though I was, like, so, like, I don't want to watch this. I want to watch, like, a Disney movie or something like that as a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I just love that movie.
What about it do you like?
I love the style of it and the soundtrack, and the fact that, like, I like did a deep dive on, like, IMDb to, like, I like love learning about all the behind the scenes facts about movies.
Sure.
So just learning that, like, Luc Besson, who directed it, he also wrote the whole story in high school. He also held a lot of the camera. He worked really closely, like, with, like, all departments and stuff like that. So that made me, like, love it even more, because I'm a massive control freak. So
Luke's amazing.
Yes, I love his style a lot. And then the soundtrack with Eric Serra is just amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like even like you, like the other movies you've shown me, but even now because of my work ethic, but also just the way you raised me to appreciate like nice, not just nice things, but nice looking things and nice sounding things.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of introducing to me that early on definitely helps things now, because I'm even like, the set isn't just going to be interactive or like aesthetic for the talent, but also for the crew. Like I made my crew dress up one time recently for a short film so that it could be immersive for everybody. But yeah, you showed me a lot of other good films, like and they range on such a spectrum too, because you can show me like really good films like The Fifth Element, or really good movies also like Grown Ups and Nacho Libre, and like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, or Nancy Meyers films and stuff like that. So it's just like a very broad spectrum of things, or even like Christopher Nolan films and stuff like that. So yeah, and I think you took me to like my first late night movie, which was Tron Legacy, which we saw at the Irvine Spectrum, like when I was like probably 6 years old or something like that.
That's right.
So I remember that being my late night movie, and that was like the first movie soundtrack I got really into as well, because I always just like made you play it in the car. So
it's an appreciation for, you know, at surface level you can go, man, that looks great, or it sounds great, or it tastes great, but I think what I really wanted you to learn is what are the ingredients of what makes something really special. And there's that barrier of believability that can get broken, where something doesn't feel like you can trust it, or it's not it didn't land well, or it's not convincing enough. Like Luke with The Fifth Element, the aesthetic, he hired and, you know, brought in Jean-Paul Gaultier, from fashion to art direction to production design. So when you bring all that together with him then controlling the look and the shot, and then all of that with great music and great, you know, visual effects, now it's convincing, and nothing's broken in terms of your believability. And you're like, oh no, it's Bruce Willis and it's Mila Jovovich, and like it just all cohesively comes into a beautiful recipe. You know, whether you and I have walked into like a Ralph Lauren store, and like what makes that so perfect, from the lighting to the staff to everything, what makes Disney so good? Like, well,
Disney's a little bit
different, but it's like a whole different package aesthetically of what makes things special. And some people have it, some people don't, some people try to mimic it, some people try to make it, but a lot of people can't pull it off.
Yeah, well, Disney's different because they're like a whole nother breed of like magical, like believability, from like Main Street doing the music, or even just having smells like around, or like even like cute little things, like even in the itty bitty corners, like, or even like when we went to Universal in Orlando in the Harry Potter section, I remember you were like looking around just for like something in like even in a corner. That kind of like broke the magic or believability, but you were even like, dude, this is like pretty like legit. So just the attention, I think it's attention to detail. Yeah,
for sure. So. And it's just really, really making sure that it becomes very, very convincing when it's very layered.
Yeah, exactly. Like other movies, I'm trying to, like Dune probably is a really good example, for like a recent example at least, because of like you have an amazing direction, but then soundtrack, like art direction, costuming, like acting, like all of the things. So yeah, I feel like Dune would be a good example of that for a recent film.
Yeah, so that's all movies. When we talk about music, how much of that has had an impact on your life in terms of growing up in our house, and in terms of how we operate, how we do life, how it affects everything here aesthetically?
Well, definitely growing up with like you having like, as an example, to kind of like get a music taste off of growing up, it was definitely very situational, because like nowadays it's really common to make a playlist for each aesthetic in your life, like whether it's like, okay, walking on a rainy day or like something like that. But I noticed like even like, okay, so Sunday mornings are like Glenn Miller, like big band swing, especially in the summers, or like midday it would be 80s, or like electronic chill stuff.
That's right.
Same thing at night, or even like at night there'd be a lot of jazz, or in the morning there'd be a lot of jazz. So it would just kind of like like kind of like cognitively like pair up situations with like certain kinds of music and like aesthetics and that like the
Right.
feelings that went into that. So that definitely helps as a film student now. But yeah, and you also have introduced me to like really good music too.
Yeah.
So
Well, the thing for me with my creativity and life, and when I watched the Ralph Lauren documentary, the reason why it means so much to me and why, one day it'd be amazing if I could ever meet him. But it was one of the few people that I'm like, oh no, I am 100%. I get what he just said. And basically what Ralph said was this. He goes, life is a movie and we are the actors and actresses in it. And he just said, whether I'm at my ranch or whether I'm at my ranch, whether I'm at my, English style manor, no matter where, or he's in New York, there's a soundtrack for every situation in life.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like it's very playlist for each moment in life.
That's exactly
or, like,
right.
So yeah.
So it really puts me in a vibe of, I'm about to write. What kind of music is going with writing? What kind of music's going with sitting out in the lodge and everything is dim at dusk? What kind of music goes with that? Driving in the car after we just had an incredible meal as a family together. That's a totally different vibe. So I think music, excuse me, music is the soundtrack for the situation of the movie of your life. And no, I would agree.
Yeah, I already definitely feel like that.
Okay, so we talked about music. We talked about movies. Talk about food. Excuse me.
We're definitely food people. Like yeah, especially when people are in from out of town, I feel like they eat well.
But again, I think that kind of goes into the layering of, you got the vibe,
yeah,
you've got the food, you've got those tunes, you got the aesthetic, you got the lighting. It's like we're creating a set
pretty much, yeah,
of a movie. So talk about kind of like the food and how you experience that as a family and how we operate and what that does for creativity, but also like what Sabbath means to us. Like we talked about it this last Sunday,
we did.
Yeah. It's less about taking time off work. It's more about celebrating what we have.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, are you wanting me to like list some like good
Sure.
recs and like
Yeah,
as far
but
as
like even
food?
stuff that we're into, because I think a lot of folks will want to hear what that, what we're into and why.
Well, we're into good food. We're not gonna go eat we're not Chick-fil-A people. We're not Cane's people. But we love we love any Hillstone restaurant for like a nicer meal because it's good, not just like good food, it's like good quality food.
And the aesthetic and everything is
and
unbelievable.
it's like pretty like chill restaurants too. But we also we go to places like El Matador, which is like a good family spot, that's like Mexican spot that's just been there for so long, just for like classic stuff. But like the fact that it's like, oh yeah, we just go there sometimes after we all go to the beach and we're all like, we still have sand in our pants.
Yeah, totally.
Stuff like that while we're just eating chips. Or like places like Puesto or Kogi, or like, yeah, just like going to Kogi whenever we can find it. Or if we're ever in Vegas, going to Best Friends, which is the same thing. Or even just like going to In-N-Out. Like we usually will sometimes have the tradition of going to In-N-Out after we come back from a flight.
Yeah, that's probably one of our big family traditions.
Yeah.
If we land at an airport, we always hit In-N-Out on the way home.
Yeah. So definitely there's that, but then also like, especially the past, like I think maybe since COVID, we have been conscious of like, okay, we're gonna try to eat healthy, but like when we cheat, like we cheat.
Just so what would you say is our routine on that, so that everybody understands what it means by like going strict through the week and then Sunday?
It's just like to improve like quality of life, and like am I great at it? No, but compared to you, no. But just trying to eat as clean and as like good quality as we can throughout the week, so then we can like on Sunday have like a pint of ice cream and not like feel so bad about it, but like so it feels like more rewarding in a sense,
right?
Because like even I experience like, oh, if I'm just like eating this whenever, it's like it's not as good.
Totally, things deferred,
yeah,
really, really are amazing when you finally get to have them.
Yeah, and I kind of learned to like, I feel gross when I don't eat and like take care of myself, so. definitely there's that. But then, yeah, just the strictness, or not strictness, but like intentionality during the week. Definitely just
Right.
like as a person, it just makes you a lot better.
Totally. Yeah. Talk about, we could go into this a little bit, travel. We talked about music. We talked about food. We talked about movies, but travel. Talk about travel when it comes to us working together, but also life just in general, the events and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, like we do it a lot. Like, well, especially you. Yeah, like.
What have you learned from all that?
Just, it's definitely like it's a privilege, I would say, because like we even like to go on like quote unquote vacations, even though they would technically be work trips for you. We would do that multiple times a year when some people don't even get to go on one. So that just like definitely makes you very grateful for like the experiences like we got to experience as kids and like still now. And it also just makes you very like appreciative of like the jobs that we do and the lives we do get to lead, because like one of the reasons why I like traveling with you for work so much is because I hate sitting at a desk. Like I like to be like going out and meeting people.
Yeah.
Especially like at all the events and meeting the cast members and stuff like that. Those are like that's probably my favorite part of my job. But yeah, and it's just like being able to have experience and like go see the world, essentially, like go meet people and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, special.
Yeah, it is very special.
Yeah. But what have you learned about the work ethic and all that?
It does take work still. Like you still are working. It just may seem a little bit different, but it's like you're still on, essentially.
Yeah.
Like we're not just going to relax. Like, do we get to have fun on the work trips? Yeah, but like you're still working.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something I feel like people don't always realize.
But that was one of the things that I really wanted when there was the opportunity to start integrating you guys into every aspect of my work. I think that was one of the keys, was the fact that you guys were so integrated at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, you got like, again, the whole like being treated like an adult thing. Like I remember as a kid, you guys would be like, okay, you guys have to find the gate. You would still be with us, obviously, but it's like, as long as we have enough time, you guys would be like, you need to find the gate for us and like lead us to the gate, essentially, and like learn how to read the signs and stuff like that. Like, I think I was probably like still in like early elementary school when you guys started doing that. So just integrating us through that process, like ever so slowly. And then like, yeah.
No, that was good. Helping you guys realize that you were a king and a queen early on, and leaders. You were leaders from a young age, but that was like, hey, if you want to lead and you want that kind of responsibility, you gotta, you know, it's earned, and you guys have done a wonderful job with that.
I feel like with, if we're I want to backtrack to music a little bit, because I feel like we didn't like talk about like music, like artists though, because it's like we have good taste in music. I feel like, like, yeah.
No, for me, I was thinking about it today. I mean, I probably listen to more Oscar Peterson and jazz, low key jazz. I'll listen to, obviously Glenn Miller on the weekends and things like that, and big band. But I absolutely love 20s through 40s era for most things, everything from design, parts, cars, everything. 20s to 40s, everything is just made so well. It's amazing.
Yeah, I started liking all of that stuff because of you too. Like, especially like whenever I find like a black and white film I want to watch, I'm always like, do you want to watch it with me?
Yeah, there's the feels and everything, the design, the typography, everything is just so beautifully packaged and convincing, and it just feels good. It's like an old worn in baseball glove, right?
Yeah.
But with music, you know, Oscar Peterson's huge. Hammock is one of my absolute favorites. You know, I grew up on Brian Eno, Daniel Lanois, Patrick O'Hearn. Lately, more contemporary would be David Helpling, John Jenkins, for sure.
But you also like introduced me to like Tears for Fears, Depeche Mode.
Oh, yeah, The Cure,
all of
everybody from the 80s. But then like recent as well as like Tycho. Tycho is unbelievable.
And then I got you interested in 21 Pilots.
Yeah, well, that was another part of. We kind of talked about that on Best Day, but 21 Pilots such a big part of our kind of tradition of going and doing those shows and traveling and doing those shows. I remember I was on tour doing my Disney tour, and even though 21 Pilots was going to play right down the street you and I were able to find flights. I came home, we flew to Denver, we stayed the night at a hotel, went to the concert. It was almost snowing. It was so cold. And then we came back. But what an epic memory.
Yeah. And yeah, because the first one we went to, I was 12,
maybe
13.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been, I think, 6 times since then.
Yeah.
Like even like going double on some of their tours and stuff
Totally.
like that. And like
Yeah.
also, cause, like, do you want to talk about like the visual appeal? Like, because it's like as far as aesthetics go, like their shows, you were like,
yeah,
like this is insane.
Yep, totally. Yeah, so
So
much to learn from them. I mean, Josh and Tyler have done a wonderful job of being truly unapologetically genuine, their true authentic self, being who they're being who they are designed to be, and don't ask for anybody's permission to do it. And they're a beautiful example of what true authentic art looks like, and don't care if it sells.
yeah.
And that's the best, is when you can just live in that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Right. But 21 Pilots is amazing.
Yeah, and then like how it visually looks during all of their
Oh gosh.
concerts, so, like,
Yeah. There's concerts and then there's concerts, and that's unbelievable what those guys do.
Yeah, every time too. Like it's so good. But
Totally.
yeah,
And
like,
let talk about some of your favorite places. We've talked about food. We've talked about music. We've talked about music, food, movies. But let's talk about places. Some of your favorite places that just bring you inspiration and that you absolutely love.
I mean, I love our house up north. I don't know if we want to say like where
Yeah.
that is, but for like privacy reasons. But
Beach
like,
house.
yeah, the beach house up in Northern California, up near Oregon, I think is awesome, because especially where the house is at too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love the small town. You don't even like, nobody kind of knows like where everything or where the town itself is.
Yeah.
And the fact that like people from the town kind of are like, oh, you're from Southern California, aren't you? Even if we try to like dress really low key.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also like it's super beautiful around there, and just like getting to walk around like all the forest, because we don't really have nature here.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing, just to kind of like go and do nothing for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Even if like we have family friends with us, it's just a nice little escape spot, I guess.
Totally.
Trying to think where else we've all been. I mean, like I grew up at Disney, so I kind of have to say like I love Disney.
Yeah. It's a different version of home, because I mean we've been doing Disney work for 18 years so far. Oh no, this is our 19th year.
Yeah. And I say like, I don't say like Disney, like I grew up at Disney, like I'm a Disney adult, which I yeah. I say that like even like growing up behind the scenes a lot, because like I even like the behind the scenes part, like even like when we have to drive on for a Festival of the Arts, like backstage, like I'm like, I love doing that. Like I think it's just so cool. I love being back there. So like I love it there as well. Like any Disney property, even if it's like one of the ships, I'm like, I just like being here because it makes me feel like it's good, because I was there so much as a kid.
Yeah, totally. It's a part of your DNA.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, where else like do we like frequent?
Well, there's certain restaurants, like you said, Hillstone is like a different vibe and a representation of kind of who we are and what we're about, and the look and the vibe. And we even know the staff there, and they, that's a part of family.
Yeah.
Danielle's beautiful and awesome, and such a great encouragement to our family. She's been a blessing. And then, big part of who I also learned the aesthetic from is Deanne, from Disney, and how she just has done such a wonderful job of reminding. I mean, she's the one that brought us in. And so that was a part of the aesthetic and the appreciation for what makes things special. And I'm like, dude, all I want to do is like reproduce that uniqueness, and that partnership with her and what she continues to do has been an example of that lived out, like in these times. And whereas some people just look at things as a product, she looks at things as like a full intentional experience. And I think that's really what really changes things is intentionality and experience around it, right? In terms of what makes a place special. We've done Alani, we've done Disney Cruise Lines, those are special places to us with all the history that we've got there with those cast members and family. And that's really special. But I also think, like, in a weird way, like, there's aspects of Vegas that's special because we have so many memories there. And then there's, like, I don't know, there's just there's certain aspects of LA. I know it sounds crazy, but there's, as you start to build these memories, I think they're like really great little road markers and imprints for families to be able to say like, it's where some of the best parts of life have happened.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I mean, even in LA, like, where would you say even in LA? Because like, we all did the Warner Brothers tour like once, but
Right.
I'm like, that's one of my favorite places ever.
Totally.
Because I'm like, I want to work there one day.
But it's everything from like that then to hitting Tommy's. And I've
Yeah.
been going to Tommy's since I was like 2 years old on Rampart. And then, dude, I'm sitting here with my own kids having chili burgers, super late night. Like, that's cool. And then like when we would go to Kogi up there, you and I went up to the
Academy Motion Picture Museum.
Yeah. So we went to that museum together, you know, so we've got some incredible memories up there.
I mean, like around Orange County too, like Newport Beach and Corona Del Mar and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. We got a ton of history there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But those are some of the things that makes us tick. Those are some of our favorite movies. I mean, my favorite movie of all time, It's a Wonderful Life. It's tattooed on my arm. You know, we do love anything with, you know, Christopher Nolan and Denny, who does all the stuff with Dune and Blade Runner 2049 and that whole vibe and style and heavy and vibey and
yeah, but then we also love grown-ups and stuff like that.
It can be fun and
we haven't
stupid.
talked about grown-ups at all, like though.
Grown-ups
like,
is one of our favorites.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
or
but
even
you got
like
Spade and Chris Rock and all that crew. But Sandler's,
casting.
he's got it cornered. I think
no, go on.
no, but I think he gets truly family. I think like people say, who would you like to have, you know, dinner with? Sandler would be one of them because I just think he's like, dude, he's the guy next door that actually had the guts to do what everybody's thinking about. Same with Jack Black with Nacho Libre or Napoleon Dynamite or, you know, you name it. All of these are just wonderful, wonderful films that we as a family have built a lot of history on.
Well, anything with like Steve Martin or Marty Short as well.
For sure.
Like even their comedy special, dude. I'll like rewatch that like multiple times a year because it's so perfect.
But I think Nancy Meyers is a big one for us. Like, it's complicated. Something's got to give. You know, The Holiday, you know, all her movies, you know, in terms of aesthetic and look and vibe, amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks you guys for watching. I had a great time, Griff. This was a fun one. And it's fun to just talk about some of the, and we forgot to say our favorite thing is ice cream as a family.
Oh. I'm kind of disappointed with the store-bought stuff now, but like our favorites, San Francisco
up north.
Creamery. Yeah.
We've been going to Fenton's
6
Creamery.
hours away.
Yeah. Fenton's Creamery is where I've been going since I was a kid, and it was in the movie Up at the end. But Fenton's is essentially one of the best ice cream places on the planet. It's in Piedmont, right near Oakland and Berkeley, near Emeryville.
I think San Francisco Creamery is slightly better though.
I would agree. Now, there are 2 specific flavors that we are avid fans about, and that is both places do have a coffee cookie dough Oreo.
Well, okay, but yeah, like, and we love it so much. Was it for your birthday that Eric bought you the little like?
So one of our best friends and family from up north, they bought a 5-gallon jug.
The ones that they scoop out in the store.
The one that's in the store in the bin. They actually brought that in a dry ice pack and brought it all the way down, 6-hour drive, and had a surprise birthday party for me. And Eric and Lisa absolutely knocked my socks off. And so it's probably good that it's far away. Yeah. Because we'd be there a lot. But Salt and Straw is having a good run for the money for being down here.
But they don't have coffee cookie dough or anything
Agreed.
like that.
They do not have coffee cookie dough or Oreo.
No,
so we're going to make it ourselves. We're going to got my new little maker that we can test it out.
Yeah, your freaking ice cream maker.
Yeah. But we do love, you know, if you got a chance, go check out Fenton's, check out San Francisco Creamery in Walnut Creek in the East Bay. And
I feel like there's something else that we're forgetting.
Well, one of the big favorites is 49ers.
Yeah. Okay, well, I feel like I can't say because I'm just I just got into football last season, so I'm like I still have to be like, okay, what does the yellow line mean again? But I just like it when we win.
Yeah. Well, and you like the boys. You like all the guys. They're all awesome dudes. They're all characters.
Well, I just like Kittle especially because he has Hobbs from Calvin and Hobbes tattooed on his hand, and he'll wear like Lightning McQueen Crocs during press interviews.
Totally.
So he's one of my favorite.
Yeah, he's awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on this episode, Griff. This was a ton of fun.
Yeah, no
All
problem.
right. You guys, thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below. Hit the notifications button, like us, and leave a comment. Love to hear from you. And thank you so much.